Welcome to the Wrestling Podcast. My new nickname for it, the Outlaw Podcast. That's for off-topic days only, though. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the name yet. I'm still trying to debate on what I want the podcast to be called. So, my week's going good. I actually got mad yesterday because, well, my teacher handed me a pass last week, and the date was yesterday, and they have me taking this stupid test that it's supposed to tell you where I am on my grading level. And I failed it last November, and I'm retaking it, and yeah, so my teacher said I didn't need to retake it today after he told me yesterday you need to come in first period and retake it. So I got mad today. I was a little irritated about that. Before I get to the Raw results, I want to mention Grimm's Toy Show. Grimm, he is a wrestler on the independent scene. He has his own promotion, GTS Wrestling. I'll leave a link to his channel, or I'll just type in GTS Wrestling, and all three of his channels will pop up. It's that simple. I've tried it, just so you know it works. The reason why I want to talk about him is that his his great-grandma, or no, his grandma passed away not too long ago. It was a couple days ago. She had the flu, and they kind of knew it was going to happen sooner or later. But I commented on his video, and I was like, Grimm, I'm going to mention you in my video, and I'm going to spread your channel. So go look at his channel, subscribe, watch it. I watch his videos when I get a chance, because I'm either busy or, you know, I'm at school when he uploads his videos. But yeah, his grandma passed away, and Grimm, if you're listening to this, I know the feeling of losing a loved one. My granny, she passed away last February, and yeah, it was just hard on everybody in my family. They were people, my aunt and everyone, they were arguing about how they wanted to set up the funeral and everything. It was just a total nightmare. But over the summer, I went to her house to clean it out, and I found some pictures of her with my mom and dad. It was good to look at that. You mentioned in your video on how your grandma would take you to the store and like buy you stuff. Well, my grandma was the same way, and she would sometimes give me money, and like she would give me money and she'd be like, "Don't tell your brother." And yeah, I would have some spending money. It would be like 10, 5, or $20. I just wanted to mention his channel. I wanted to do a tribute to Supergram. That's her nickname. That's what he calls her, which it's actually really cool. So let's get to Monday Night Raw. So it's after Elimination Chamber. Let me tell you my opinion, all right? Because right in the middle of the Raw, okay, so I didn't get all the results, but I watched most of it on YouTube. My parents, I have Dish, all right? And when I'm recording something, or no, if my parents are watching something and my brother's watching something, it takes up 2 tuners. And I can't watch TV unless I join onto their receiver or my brother's receiver. And I don't want to join into my brother's receiver because he's going to drive like, "Oh, I don't want to watch that." And I was like, all right. So I joined onto my the living room receiver, and we started watching Raw, and it kicked off with Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, Nia Jax, Bayley, and I want to say Sasha Banks, if I'm correct. And Asuka. Asuka won, and then Ronda Rousey. They showed the preview from Elimination Chamber. Ronda Rousey put Triple H through a table and got slapped by Stephanie McMahon. And then John Cena mentioned that he's going to SmackDown to call out The Undertaker, which, in my opinion, they're 10 years late on the match because it shouldn't happen. It should have happened 10 years ago, all right? And this is the one thing that WWE doesn't get. The Undertaker is old, all right? He should have had he needs to have a better opponent than John Cena. If they wanted that match, they should have had it 10 years ago. But I can see that WWE is trying to get some money from the match. And I watched another clip from Raw on YouTube. It was The Miz going off on Kurt Angle, and Kurt Angle versus Finn Balor, and then Seth Rollins mentioned that he's going for the IC title. I can't wait for that. I'll be honest with you, The Miz, he's a great wrestler, but some of the times he can be just pain in the rear. I mean, no offense to Chris Jericho. I thought Chris Jericho was worse, but The Miz is worse. Before The Miz came along, Jericho was the exact same way as The Miz was. I have a lot of respect for Chris Jericho. You know, it's just part of his character. He was a heel character at the time, and he was always like I don't know how to pronounce it in an appropriate way, but he was always a heel, and that's why I never liked Chris Jericho until now, when he started taking time off, and he came back as a face, and came out with the list of Jericho and everything. That right there, you know, that made me like Chris Jericho again. And then another thing that made me like Chris Jericho was watching some of his older matches in WCW, ECW, and the Invasion angle when he went against Hulk Hogan, Triple H at WrestleMania, The Rock, Booker T, you name it. He's a great champion. He's won, I think, 3 Slammy Awards. But yeah, let's get back on to Raw. So Roman Reigns mentioned that Brock Lesnar is no longer appearing on UFC, or not UFC, WWE. Or no. Let me rephrase that because I messed up. I wasn't paying attention to the script I wrote. So Roman Reigns was calling out Lesnar and calling him like a coward and everything because he wasn't on Raw. And it turns out that he was at a UFC convention with Dana White. And WWE had no idea about it. And after WrestleMania, he's going back to UFC. Or no, not after WrestleMania. In August, he's going back to UFC. So, the whole idea of Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar is to tie up with, or break the tie with Triple H's WrestleMania and Hulk Hogan's WrestleMania, because they all headlined WrestleMania multiple times. And it's to break the tie. That's what Vince wants. That's what I've been hearing on Facebook on the PW Insider. And I don't know what the last match was, but I read something Sunday that Dean Ambrose was backstage at Elimination Chamber. And I'm surprised that he didn't come into the chamber and interrupt the match. Yeah, so I came up with this great storyline in 2K17 on a PS4 before I traded in for the Xbox One. Let's take a break from wrestling. I don't have long to do this podcast, so I'm just going to tell you my storyline and I'm just going to end it. So I had it set up to where I built a Raw stage, like the 01, or no, not the Invasion Angle Raw stage, but like the 03 Raw stage, where they had like RVD and everything. And I created Hulk Hogan, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, and RVD. And I did my best to make them look realistic, like the real people. And I made a tournament, and it was WWE didn't turn into the WWE. It was still WWF at the time. And Stone Cold was still wrestling. Owen Hart never broke his neck. And I actually wrote the storyline down on paper. And the whole storyline was to go, so Stone Cold Steve Austin challenges Big Evil, The Undertaker, for the Undisputed title. Alright. Well, Mick Foley is the general manager at this time in my storyline. And he says, alright, Stone Cold, if you want a title shot, you're going to need to go against these 3 men. And it includes The Rock, Triple H, and Kane. And then The Undertaker for the Undisputed title. Well, how I had it set up was Stone Cold, it was a tournament mapping. And it was Stone Cold versus The Rock. And then there was other opponents that was going to face The Rock if Stone Cold lost. But yeah, he ended up winning all 3 of the matches. And then when he got to the Undertaker match, I had it wired in to where Triple H would sabotage the match. And then the Undertaker would take off the Undisputed title to SmackDown. And Eric Bischoff would bring back the WCW World title. And the whole idea, because you remember how Brock Lesnar took off the Undisputed title. He was on Raw, and then he went to SmackDown, and Eric Bischoff revealed the WCW title. That's how it was going to be, but it was in like a reverse twisted mindset that I had. Well, if y'all guys remember, Stone Cold and Triple H had a No Way Out match, and if Stone Cold touched Triple H or Triple H touched Stone Cold, the match would be off. Well, it was the same penalty. Triple H hires Y2J, Christian, and Edge to attack Stone Cold. Well, Stone Cold stuns them all and slams Edge's head into a car window, and Stone Cold throws Christian into a lake, and then Stone Cold throws Chris Jericho into a windshield and starts beating him with the baton that he finds into a garbage can. And I forgot how the storyline went, but like Triple H ends up beating Stone Cold at the No Way Out match, because I made a No Way Out map on 2K17. And towards the end of the storyline, the Undertaker comes back as a dead man, and he still has the Undisputed title. And Stone Cold and Undertaker end up having a buried alive match again, and Undertaker buries Austin alive. And then the next night, Austin comes out and announces his retirement. So yeah, that's all I have for today. I'll have to come up more. The whole purpose of this podcast is to do a tribute to Grimm's grandma. I promised him I would do a podcast. Grimm, he hasn't liked my comment that I left in the YouTube comment section, so I wanted to do a video on, what I thought of the video and everything. So that's it for today. Peace.